Text is history. Welcome to the future. Apple's future. Kinda neat.
The digital age was not born peacefully. It emerged from a bitter rivalry between two of the most influential minds the world has ever known. Bill Gates, the young computer prodigy.
We have an operating system.
And Steve Jobs, the charismatic innovator.
Today, for the first time ever, I'd like Macintosh to speak for itself.
Two brilliant thinkers.
Tell you what, I'll let you invest your $1 million in our company.
Willing to do whatever it takes.
How's 50 grand sound?
Sounds amazing.
To go down in history.
We had a deal that you agreed to.
As the man who would make the computer personal.
If Apple goes down, you've got no one to fight.
And change the world forever. A teenager and his friend are on a mission to hack into their local computer center and help themselves to some free computer time. The hacker's name is Bill Gates.
Bill Gates was a guy who came from a well-to-do family in Seattle, had a great education, was a smart guy, was by all accounts a very driven and competitive guy. That was his nature. Bill wanted to win.
Even as a teenager, Gates possesses a rare knowledge. He knows how to operate a mainframe computer.
Mainframe computers were these huge computers that experts used, to crunch data. They were used by corporations, and, the gods of tech had to run these things. They couldn't be handled by regular people.
In 1974, the concept of the personal computer doesn't exist. Until a company in New Mexico introduces the first computer small enough to be used by the general public. It's called the Altair 8800.
It was a proof of concept toy, in a way. I mean, it was a sophisticated toy. It was a direction, but it didn't do a whole lot. It didn't have a terminal, didn't have a keyboard, didn't have any of the things that we typically associate with a computer right now.
Most importantly, there's no easy way to operate it. When the Altair is released, Bill Gates is a student at Harvard University. Gates and his friend Paul Allen know that to be useful, the Altair needs a programming language. And they decide to give it one.
Bill Gates and Paul Allen sensed that something was in the air. They didn't want to spend the next 2 or 3 years watching the parade go by.
They use an early form of programming in which holes are punched into spools of paper in patterns that form commands. To prove that their program works, they'll have to take it directly to the makers of the Altair.
You go. You look older, they'll take you seriously.
Okay.
But Gates and Allen aren't the only ones determined to make computers easier to use. 3,000 miles away, the future of the personal computer is being imagined in a completely different way. Steve Jobs is a college dropout who has just returned from a spiritual quest in India and has limited experience with computers.
He was part of the hippie crowd, the whole drugs and all kinds of alternative lifestyles. He was not trained in computing.
One of Jobs' friends is Steve Wozniak, an electronics and computer hobbyist who's come up with a radical idea.
Hey,
What you working on?
I got something new. Check this out.
Wozniak has built a computer with a microprocessor, like the Altair. But he's added two other key components: a keyboard and a monitor. Instead of having to punch code into paper, programming can now be written directly using the same keys found on a typewriter.
It was a eureka moment. I could type commands on the computer and they came up on my TV screen. These things I call eureka moments are surprises that even you didn't realize how important they were going to be for how things work.
Jobs is immediately intrigued. But unlike Wozniak, Jobs is less interested in how computers work and more interested in how he can sell them.
Steve was the total businessman. He wanted the company. I just wanted to build cool products. And that was pretty much our relationship. We needed each other so badly.
Bill Gates is waiting on word from his partner, Paul Allen, who's demonstrating the software they created for the Altair.
Okay, this is just a basic language we wrote, but let me type in a few commands and show you how it works.
You don't know which ideas are going to have the greatest potential until you've actually put them in practice. Sometimes someone comes up with an idea and you say, wow, this could really revolutionize the world.
Paul?
Gates and Allen have just sold the first software program for a personal computer. It's enough to inspire Bill Gates to take the biggest risk of his life. At the age of 19, he drops out of Harvard, and along with Paul Allen, starts a small computer company in an Albuquerque strip mall. They